Here, we know that the news doesn't sleep. And neither do we. So we're here with you live from 2 till 6 a.m. every weekday. Call us 866-90-RED-EYE. So join me, Gary McNamara.
And me, Eric Harley, every weeknight to discuss the latest in news and entertainment.
Right here on WOCA, The Source.
You're listening to WOCA. Ocala.
All right, 25 minutes before 8 o'clock. Thank you for tuning in this Tuesday morning. Right now here at the Paddock Mall, it is 72 degrees and expected to get hot. Expected to be another day with thunderstorms passing through. About 40% every single day. Every single day I read the weather, it says 40% chance of rain. 40%
It's June.
With thunderstorms.
Yeah, it's June. You can set your clock by
But there was
rain.
a few years ago we didn't have that pattern. But
that's right.
But it was typical years ago, and it's typical now, and so it's just the way it is, right?
Yep.
All right, I told you about the calendar, the ribbon cutting. By the way, I just the ad just now for the Red Eye Radio. I like listening to the Red Eye Radio because I'm up that early to hear it. But I have a hard time discerning between the two hosts. I cannot separate that in my mind. I can't figure out whose voice is whose.
Yeah, they speak the same.
They have the same voice.
Yeah, they do.
In fact, the same thing is true on the Glenn Beck show. I have a hard time. See, this is a good thing it's male and female on our show.
Yeah.
You know who's who.
Yeah, exactly. There's no confusion there, believe me.
on Glenn Beck, too. I sometimes I'm listening, and I'm not so sure if I'm listening to Glenn Beck or the other guy.
Yeah, me too.
And I don't know how many other guys are on the Glenn Beck show. Does he have two other guys on with him, or just one other guy?
Sometimes there's two other guys.
Yeah, but there's one of the other guys has like the same sounding voice as Glenn Beck.
Yeah, he does. Unless Glenn Beck starts to cry, then you know it's him.
yeah, that's right. Good morning, you're on the air.
Good morning. Do you remember the singing group Peter, Paul, and Mary? They were a great group.
Sure.
The interesting thing was that Mary could sing deeper than Peter.
Really? Which
Really?
one? And Peter was the tall guy. Oh, yeah.
We've had him on a couple times.
That's right. We had Peter Gower on, yeah. Well, I didn't know that. Wow, she had a deep voice, huh?
Yeah, she was a contralto. She not that she had a deep voice, but Peter sang the falsetto parts, and she could really range down.
Oh, interesting.
So that's what gave the unique sound to the group.
Wow, I didn't know that. That's interesting. Carly Simon can get down there too.
Yeah, she's good.
Sexy when a woman does
Very,
that, I think.
very sexy.
Yeah. Thank you, Jim. Appreciate that. Tom and Buddy have similar voices too on the afternoon show. On
Yeah,
the
they
Voice
do.
of Ocala.
Yeah, sometimes it's
I know
hard to
them.
discern them.
I know them, so it's easy for me. But I wonder if the people who listen and don't see them, well, we see them all the time.
Yeah,
so.
that's right.
All right, let's see. Couple things before we get to Florida Amendment number 1. The things that are happening today you might want to pay attention to. Things that people will be talking about. Records of dead veterans were changed or altered, some even in recent weeks, to hide how many people died while waiting for care in Phoenix at the VA hospital in Phoenix.
Oh my God! I thought they got rid of all those.
That's the story that people are talking about today. The Iraq crisis. I want to tell you, but the Iraq crisis. Power-hungry militants are battling Iraqi forces for control of the country's biggest oil refinery. Again, I don't understand. The Iraqi forces number 250,000. The enemy, the bad guy, the ISIS guys, they are 7,000 strong. I don't understand how this is even possible that they can be taking over.
No, don't
and
either.
And then there was another story, the Islamic State of Iraq and Syria, also ISIS, same thing, has extended their battleground to the what do you call it, the social networks, Twitter, Facebook.
Oh my gosh.
YouTube.
Oh my gosh, brainwashing.
They're on Twitter and boasting about what they're doing, even boasting about beheading some people.
I bet.
Oh,
my God. No,
and now they want to take over the oil refinery. I said, well, does anybody want this group to be in charge? If you don't, any country that doesn't want them to be in charge, then don't buy oil from them. What good is an oil refinery? Or an oil, don't buy the products, whatever. Don't buy it.
Plenty here, so we don't have to even have that stuff from
Another big story happening in West Africa. There's an unprecedented number of people who've been diagnosed with Ebola the Ebola virus.
Gee.
567 cases and 350 deaths just since March.
Oh, my God. See, that's what we should be paying attention to, helping that, not this stupid fighting.
And it is possible for travelers to carry the virus for weeks without realizing they have it. So
Yeah.
don't be hanging out with
Shouldn't
anyone.
be going over there.
Another reason why Life South doesn't allow travelers, quite often, foreign travelers, to donate blood.
Yeah, exactly.
And then in political news, it's Judgment Day for two of the longest-serving members of Congress, both of whom are fighting for their political lives. Republican Senator Thad Cochran of Mississippi and Democratic Representative Charlie Rangel of New York. They've each served more than 4 decades.
Yeah,
Anyway, so
they're done.
you think?
Yeah. Well,
So-
they just got the other guy out there, the one that
All
was
right,
the minority.
let's talk about Florida. Let's talk about our water, and let's talk about an amendment that you will be voting on in November.
Okay.
It is Florida Water and Land Conservation Initiative, Amendment 1. It is on the November 4th ballot here in Florida. As an initiated constitutional amendment, the measure, if it's approved, would dedicate 33% of net revenues from the existing excise tax on documents and take that money and put it to the Land Acquisition Trust Fund.
Ooh.
The Land Acquisition Trust Fund would be expended to acquire and improve, that means buy land
hear
and
that.
improve already owned land.
Yeah.
With that they're called land that they're calling conservation easements. Wildlife management areas, wetlands, forests, fish and wildlife habitats, beaches and shores, recreational trails and parks, urban open space, rural landscapes, working farms and ranches, historical and geological sites. These are all earmarked for the money is earmarked for this if it's approved. Lands protecting water and drinking water resources, and lands in the Everglades agricultural areas and the Everglades protection area. The fund's stated goal would be to manage and restore the natural systems and to enhance public access and recreational use of conservation lands. So far, I don't really have a problem with that. I mean, if we're going to do things, well, I don't know. See, I might have a problem with it because I don't understand about that acquire part. What are they going to buy? Are they going to, because this, and I'm not trying to be Mr. Negative here. I am trying to be positive, but you have to question everything.
Sure you do.
They're asking for your vote.
Yeah.
There's money involved. 33%, that's a lot of money. That's a third. Okay, so they're asking for your vote. Whenever somebody's asking for your vote, and that means money's going to be shifted from one group of hands to another group of hands, you have to really carefully think about this. So don't be fooled by the pretty pictures that they're sending around. And they are pretty pictures.
Oh, they are very
Pretty pictures of beautiful water, beautiful fishing places, wonderful. I mean, Florida is a wonderful place. It's
women
one
in
of the-
bikinis diving. Plein
that
air
was
painters.
that was one of them, yeah. And yes, I mean we don't want to lose that. We want to keep that, but is this necessary to do so? And if it is, then the second part, is it necessary to have it as an amendment to the Florida Constitution? That's another part of this.
Yeah.
That's another part. That's a harder part to understand. All right, and I'm not against the intent that is being expressed here.
Yeah.
I'm just remembering that story. What was the story where the cattle couldn't get to the river because while the river was up for grabs, anybody could use the water in the river, but the land, the easement next to the river was owned by the government, so they put a fence up. Where was this? Was this Texas?
Yeah, Texas, I think. It was out there. It was just about a week and a half ago
I know.
we had that story.
I know.
So that's what scares me
So
about it.
that was federal land. In this case, it would be state-owned land, right?
Yeah.
And I don't know when the government has the right to land access. I don't know. I want you all to tell me. I'm not trying to tell you how I feel, other than I am. I'm telling you that I don't know how I feel. All right, that's what I'm telling you. All right, so let me read you what the ballot title is.
Okay.
The official title of the ballot, which is Amendment 1 on November 4th that you'll be voting on, the official title is Water and Land Conservation dedicates funds to acquire and restore Florida conservation and recreation lands. period. That's the title. On the ballot, there will be a summary of what it's about. And this is what the summary says. I want you to call in, but just let me, I see some calls coming in. 622-9622 if you want to call in. That's the WOCA Climate Control Source Hotline. But I want to read this first, and then we'll go to the phones, okay? Here's what the ballot summary will say. Funds, the Land Acquisition Trust Fund, I guess they're just telling you what it does, to acquire, restore, improve, and manage conservation lands, including wetlands and forests, fish and wildlife habitat, lands protecting water resources and drinking water resources, including the Everglades, and the water quality of rivers, lakes, and streams, beaches and shores, outdoor recreational lands, working farms and ranches, and historic or geologic sites by dedicating 33% of net revenues from the existing excise tax on documents for 20 years. That's what the ballot summary says. The actual amendment, just bear with me. I will read it to you. It's not that long. Amendment 1 would add a Section 28 to Article 10 of the Florida Constitution. And Section 28, Land Acquisition Trust Fund, will read, bullet point A, effective on July 1st of the year following passage of this amendment by the voters, and for a period of 20 years after that effective date, the Land Acquisition Trust Fund shall receive no less than 33% of net revenues derived from the existing excise tax on documents as defined in the statutes in effect on January 1st, 2012, as amended from time to time, or any successor or replacement tax after the Department of Revenue first deducts a service charge to pay the costs of the collection and enforcement of the excise tax on documents.
Of course.
Okay. By the way, when there's a sunset amendment, you have to wonder, why do you need an amendment if it's going to be sunsetted?
Yeah. Yeah.
All right.
Exactly.
That's one thing I wanted to point out. Bullet point B in Section 28. Funds in the Land Acquisition Trust Fund shall be expended only for the following purposes. Sub bullet point 1. As provided by law to finance or refinance the acquisition and improvement of land, water areas, and related property interests,
Yeah.
including conservation easements and resources for conservation lands, including wetlands, forests, and fish and wildlife habitat, wildlife management areas, which, let's look at that, those three words, wildlife management areas.
Yeah.
I can be driving here in Ocala, and I find myself seeing a sign that says I am in the Rainbow River Management Area.
Yes.
I'm a good 15 miles away from the Rainbow River,
Yeah.
or more.
Yeah. Or more than that.
Okay,
sometimes.
so they expand that what's defined as the management area really far. Mm-hmm. I'm not saying it's a bad thing. I'm just pointing it out.
Yeah.
Also, forest and fish and wildlife habitat, wildlife management areas, lands that protect water resources and drinking water resources, including lands protecting the water quality and quantity of rivers. Well, quantity. Lakes, streams, spring sheds, and lands providing recharge for groundwater and aquifer systems. Okay, that's interesting too. Not that I'm against it. It's just interesting.
But
it might mean
a thinker.
it might mean some laws regarding parking lots. That's what I can see there. Lands in the Everglades agricultural area and the Everglades protection area as defined in Article 2, Section 7B. Beaches and shores, outdoor recreation lands, including recreational trails, parks, and urban open space. Not so sure what that means other than parks, city parks. Rural landscapes, working farms and ranches. Again, working farms and ranches. You mean privately owned?
Yeah.
Okay, I don't know about what that means.
Yeah, I wonder if the immigrants are going to go there to work.
Historic or geologic sites, together with management, restoration of natural systems, and the enhancement of public access or recreational enjoyment of conservation lands. Okay, I know that was boring, but that's what the whole thing says. And then sub-bullet point 2, to pay the debt service on bonds issued pursuant to Article 7, Section 11E. And then bullet point C is the monies deposited into the Land Acquisition Trust Fund as defined by the statutes in effect on January 1st, 2012 shall not be or become commingled with the general revenue fund of the state. Don't you love the way they write these things, by the way?
I know. It's like, when you talk about...
Shall not become commingled with the general revenue fund of the state. Okay, so that would ease some people's thoughts where, okay, this is going to be used for other purposes than what they're saying. Okay, but again, the question is, does this need to be an amendment to the Constitution?
Yeah.
Is it a good idea? I mean, so far, everything I see, I don't see why not. There's parts of it I question. There's parts of it, I mean, can they actually set up that's our land, you can't get to the water anymore. Is it going to affect the exit ramp for the tubers on the Rainbow River, for example?
And when you talk about easements, I mean, when they decided the 4-lane baseline road, they had to, move their easements into private property. Well, can you imagine going down the Rainbow River and then they use those easements between the river and the homes, and then the people can't walk over to the river to swim anymore because those easements are owned by
and that's the kind of thing people should be asking.
Yeah, exactly.
Before we say yes to anything. The fiscal note developed by the Financial Impact Estimating Conference. Okay, I don't want to read all that. What I want to read to you is some of the arguments from people who are in favor of this.
Okay.
And then I'll tell you some of the people who are not in favor of this. There's more people in favor of this, it looks like, than those against it. There are a lot of organizations behind it. There's a lot of money that's been raised so far for this.
Yeah, but you got to look deep in all of these things, especially when you're changing the Constitution.
The Florida's Water and Land Legacy Incorporated PAC, that's a political action committee, has raised $3,131,600. $3,131,600 to try to encourage us to vote for it. They are for it. Mm-hmm. Here's some quotes. I support Amendment 1 because without raising new taxes, it will enhance sources of drinking water, manage fish and wildlife habitats, add and restore lands, protect beaches and shores, and maintain state and local parks.
Restore land, take it away from.
It doesn't tell you.
Domain,
you're
take it away from
you're so
people.
Suspicious. All right.
I am.
So that's. It doesn't say who made that quote, but that's one quote. So here's another one. Supporting Amendment 1 falls squarely in line with my belief that conservation is all about conservative values and ideas. Conservation is, by definition, conservative. Republicans have a long tradition of it, nationally and in Florida. Teddy Roosevelt, Richard Nixon, George H.W. Bush were leaders. In Florida, Governor Bob Martinez created Preservation 2000. Governor Jeb Bush created a similar effort called Florida Forever. In Jacksonville, Mayor John Delaney led the way in local conservation, creating a legacy that will continue for generations. All Republicans like me. That's the person, whoever wrote that. Okay. Now, keep in mind that all of those people did all of those things without making an amendment.
That's right.
To the Constitution.
Exactly.
We may not be against this as much as we're against it being an amendment.
Yeah.
Let's see. See another person who agrees with this. Amendment 1 fulfills these principles, : it ensures that our state dedicates adequate dollars into the most essential of public goods, protecting our waters and conservation of our lands. It lives within our means by ensuring that the taxes are not raised to do so, and it provides an earnest return on investment for generations to come. And then the other quote I have is, if the people of Florida approve Amendment 1, we will together have secured our common interest in the most clear and direct way. And to this old Florida cracker, there's nothing as conservative as that. So there's some people who are for it. Let me find some people who are against it. Senate President Don Getz is against it. House Speaker Will Weatherford is against it. Agriculture Commissioner Adam Putnam is against it. And the Florida Chamber of Commerce is against it.
Gosh.
How about that?
Yeah.
Mr. Putnam, Adam Putnam says, I've certainly demonstrated my support for buying easements and accomplishing water and wildlife benefits from the use of acquisition programs. But I'm troubled by writing into the Constitution elements of the budget. So again, that's almost like what we're saying. Mm-hmm. We're okay with the spirit of what this sounds like it is, mm-hmm. but putting it into the Constitution is something I wonder about. And then there's a 20-year sunset.
Yeah.
You're putting an amendment to the Constitution that disappears after 20 years?
Yeah.
What kind of a Constitution is that?
That's shady.
David Hart, the executive vice president of the Florida Chamber of Commerce, does not want this to pass. He says what our board historically has been concerned about is that we don't follow the path of California, where so many mandates have been put in their constitution that their legislature is incapable of balancing the budget anymore. That's his concern. Again, it doesn't sound like he's opposed to clean air and clean water. It sounds like he's opposed to making this a constitutional amendment. And Barney Smith, Bernard E. Smith, the board chair of the Florida Housing Finance Corporation, is also against it. He said the documentary tax, which would fund the conservation fund, is currently utilized for transportation and housing trust funds that have proven to consistently stimulate Florida's economy and create jobs. His opposition to it is that they're taking 33% of that away. That's his concern, is that 33% of that money that pays for housing trust funds, transportation, and he feels stimulates the economy and creates jobs, 33% of it is going to be taken away. He says the conservation fund would hurt the programs that money is supposed to be going to. The Gainesville Sun supports it as a newspaper. I think the Star Banner supports it. Here's a quote in the Star Banner, or from the Star Banner. Lawmakers who say that spending choices should be left in their hands fail to acknowledge their failure to protect Florida's environment. The Florida Forever program had funded conservation purchases, but the legislature has slashed its funding more than 97% since 2009. Now that voters from across the state have helped put the Water and Land Legacy Initiative on the ballot, more of us must help it get the 60% support needed for passage. Okay, so the Star Banner's position is that the Florida Forever program, instituted by Jeb Bush, didn't do what it said it was going to do, and therefore they're making the argument that's why it needs to be an amendment. That's their argument. So anyway, I guess that's all I really have on that. And now you know. Now you know what Amendment 1 is.
Yep.
You know what the intent is, and now you can debate it. We, if you want to call in, and we had a few callers, and I just spoke too long, I guess. But debate it among yourselves, or write letters, or attend meetings, or anything like that. We've got till November to decide this.
Sure.
So let's think about it. We'll do it. You know what we'll do? We'll invite some guests on who can maybe debate it. I don't know.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Maybe we should set aside an hour rather than a 25-minute segment so that we can have both sides. We can have maybe 2 people in here or 4 people.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
And 2 of them agree with 2 of them want it, 2 of them don't want it.
Yeah.
It would be interesting to hear people who've really looked at this, elected officials especially.
Yeah.
All right, so
and that's the key, the people who have really looked at it.
So we'll make a mental note to invite somebody. We've got till November 4th to educate ourselves on this and everything else. And every time, another election is coming up, the one thing that we feel is our responsibility for ourselves, as well as for anybody who cares to listen, is to educate ourselves about those things we're voting on.
Oh, yeah.
Or those people we're voting for. The one thing that's constant with any elections is the people you're voting for do a pretty good job of telling you why you should vote for them. The people who you're voting for also do a pretty good job of telling you why you should not vote for their opponent. That's pretty good. What doesn't usually get as much attention are the things like this. The things that are on the ballot that are not about voting for a person, but rather voting for the approval of an amendment, an ordinance, or
we need to know.
Anything like that. So we will do our best to make sure we get the word out about that, and we'll let you know when we're doing it. Anyway, it's the Florida Water and Land Conservation Initiative, Amendment number 1, and I'm sure if you Google it, you'll be able to find lots of information, as I just shared with you. Most of the information I just shared with you, I got off of the internet.
Yeah, but you did a lot of research for this, so now you've enlightened a lot of people as to what this is.
$2,542,367 so far spent of the $3,131,000 that was raised.
Gosh.
So there you go.
Gosh.
All right. Boy, there were so many things I could have put into that segment. By the way, there was this Common Core math example. Did you see that in the news?
No.
Oh man.
No, I haven't.
I'll share that with you. But anyway, I thought the Amendment 1 was the most important thing to talk about.
It is. It's our area.
All right. Don't get me wrong. I want to see the land and the water clean. I love it around here because of those reasons. There's that music, Robin. We've got to move forward. This is The Source, WOCA Ocala. Thank you. We'll be right back.
Fox News Radio, I'm Pat O'Neill. IRS Chief John Koskinen back for more grilling on Capitol Hill last night, again saying there's no evidence anyone committed a crime when emails were lost. GOP panel chairman Darrell Ison not buying it.
It's hard to love the IRS, but it should not be hard to trust the IRS.
Democrat Elijah Cummings defending Koskinen.
I appreciate you coming into this institution, giving it the best you got, and then having to come in here and go through this hell.
Today, the panel hears from a White House official who once worked for the IRS. Secretary of State Kerry pushing Iraq to give more authority to the Sunnis and Kurds, meeting with Kurdish officials today.
The government formation challenge is the central challenge that we face.
Kerry praised the work of Kurdish forces. 2 people dead, several wounded in a shooting in Miami's Liberty City area. Police are looking for a motive. No word on any arrest. Fox News. We report, you decide.
There's more to Fox News Radio than meets the ear. Go behind the headlines and join the conversation on the hottest stories of the day on the Fox News Radio Facebook page. Be a part of the Fox News Radio Facebook fan community. Post comments and tell us your opinions. See behind-the-scenes photos and videos and post your reactions to the stories that matter to you. Click the like button on Facebook and connect with breaking news and features like Fox in the Fast Lane, House Call for Help, and more. Go to facebook.com/Fox News Radio.
Weeknights, we're busting out a brand new lineup. First, market fraud, government abuse, corruption. At 5, nothing's off limits on money with Melissa Francis. Then, from bloated bank fees to consumer scams. At 6, Jerry's exposing the issues impacting your wallet. Plus, get smart market insight and trusted analysis you won't find anywhere else. At 7, Lou Dobbs is all business. And the first and last name in business, Cavuto. Shedding light on the biggest stories making headlines at 8. Only on the Fox Business Network. Giving you
Gene Powell pasture mowing. Our tractor services include bush hog, disking, front end loader, box blade, and stump grinding. We also have zero-turn mowers for the smaller paddocks, aisleways, fence rows, and lawn care. Fence row spraying is also available for weed control. We are licensed and insured. Gene Powell pasture mowing, 352-629-2440, or online at powellgene, Gene, at yahoo.com. Gene Powell pasture mowing.
Yes, George.
Guess what I have?
Could it be the free truck used from Devon Self Storage on 200 across from Hobby Lobby?
Yola!
Yes. Now don't forget to bring it back when you're done to Devon Self Storage.
Yes, Alice. I'll even remember to call them at 873-0777 to make sure they'll remember me.
George, I'm sure they'll remember you.
Thanks, Alice.
Oh, George.
Who would you feed if you had 50 chicken sandwiches from Chick-fil-A? WOCA and Chick-fil-A in the Paddock Mall have teamed up to reward one organization with 50 chicken sandwiches as a way of saying thanks for the great work that organization is doing in our community. And we need your help. See, there are so many great people doing great things that we need nominations. You can nominate your own organization or any organization you choose. Simply send an email to WOCA@WOCA.com. And in 350 words or less, tell us why the organization you are nominating should receive 50 free chicken sandwiches from WOCA and Chick-fil-A at the Paddock Mall. We'll review your nominations and then select one deserving organization each month. We'll announce the winner and even read the winning entry on the air. Make sure to include the contact name and phone number of the organization that you are nominating. And thanks from your friends at WOCA and Chick-fil-A in the Paddock Mall.
All right, 4 minutes after 8 o'clock. Thank you for tuning in. Nice, very nice looking Tuesday morning. 74 degrees here at the Paddock Mall. Galen Unold is on the phone to remind us of the importance of donating blood. Remember, you save 3 lives when you donate 1 unit of blood.
Yeah.
And good morning, Galen. How you doing?
Hey, good morning, Larry, Robin. How are y'all?
Pretty good. Where are you?
In the tree zone.
In the tree zone, Robin. Heading north.
Yeah.
There you go.
We can visualize it right now.
Yeah.
And who owns the easement over there?
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know.
DOT, I guess.
Yeah, probably. Yeah. Is the interstate a federal highway? No. Each state owns their own. Each state owns their own piece of it, right?
That's what I thought.
I don't know.
Right. Yeah, but it's subsidized by the federal funding, so
they can land airplanes on it
Yeah.
if they want to.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, that was we're kind of piggybacking on what we were just talking about with the water. What's the state of the blood supply?
Still in a state of need for O negative and AB. So those are the two people that we need to come in. But again, we're right around the corner from July 4th, and we need everybody to come in.
Yeah. So are you planning a July 4th picnic? And if you are, do you want potato chips? There's a new store in town that has 65 flavors of gourmet potato chips.
Yeah,
isn't that nuts? I saw that. But I mean, I'll be on the road some of next week, so I should be back in time for July 4th.
Well, Lifestyle Community Blood Center's Bloodmobile will be at the City of Gainesville firework events on July the 3rd. So if you go up there to the Gainesville City of Fireworks on Thursday, July 3rd, you'll be able to donate blood.
Yep, and the JCs aren't having their God and Country Day here.
Nope.
In Marion County. That's been officially canceled, and which is a shame. So hopefully it'll come back next year.
Yeah, and in the meantime, if anybody wants to see fireworks, the City of Gainesville is putting them on, the City of Leesburg is putting them on, and the City of Altamont Springs. So
yeah,
really nice.
Have you ever seen stars when you hit your head like in a cartoon? Has that ever happened to you? I mean,
yeah.
You have?
Yes. Yeah.
Have you, Robin? Have you ever hit your head so hard you actually saw stars?
I don't think so. No, I don't recall that.
It happened to me.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I was in the ocean. I was swimming, and a kid also swam. This is when I was a kid, and another kid swimming, and I hit heads so hard that I saw star. I really did. I saw this like a sparkle or whatever. Like, and then I went back.
Yeah, it's like one of those things where if you close your eyes and then rub your eyes, and you get that kind of effect. That's what I saw when I hit my head really hard.
How'd you hit your head? It might explain everything.
Well, yeah, I was skateboarding and tried to do something and landed on the back of my head and
yeah,
well, bam.
My.
Do you need stitches? Did you have an opening?
No, I don't remember getting stitches. I don't. Yeah, I just remember getting up going woo, and apparently I was actually out for a little while. So.
Oh wow.
Gosh, weren't you out when you fell off of that truck?
I think did I ever tell you the time I fell off a truck? And since Robin brought it up, I don't remember seeing stars with this one, but I was just being silly, really, seeing stars and making. I was gonna say you can see fireworks if you hit your head hard enough. But since Robin brought my falling off the truck story real quickly, I painted. I was hired to paint when I was in my teens. A gas truck, and the gas truck was this huge cylinder, basically, and so it's not square, so you don't have a flat top, you have a rounded top, and I was painting the top. And I had my door open to my car because I was listening to Casey's Top 40, the countdown, Casey.
Yeah.
And I don't remember the exact number he was up to. Let's say he was up to, but I was really into this. I mean, I was really into the Top 40. So he was up to like number 27. I fell off the truck, and then I just got right back up, or so I thought. And next thing I know, Casey's up to like number 20. And I was like, wow.
You were out.
7 songs just passed.
Yeah.
You need to make sure you listen to Casey's advice, Keep your feet on the ground and reaching for the stars. Keep your feet on the ground. That's the important part.
But I guess when you pass out and you wake up and there's nobody around to tell you, gosh, you've been out for an hour.
It's isn't it weird that he's gone?
Yeah.
Casey Kasem's gone. Because how many generations grew up with him doing the countdown? I mean, wow. So even my kids who are 13 and 10 know who Casey Kasem is.
Really? Oh wow, that's cool.
Yeah, isn't that amazing?
Yeah.
So it's gosh, he did that for what, almost 50 years?
Probably. I don't really know. I know.
think so.
I know he had a really tall and really pretty wife. That's
Well, and he was the voice of so many cartoon characters. So it's
yeah.
Scooby-Doo and Scrappy and Anyway.
All right, let me go to the phone and then.
Sorry, I distracted you.
That's okay. Today I have weird baseball incidents.
This will be good.
Yeah, I hope so.
I bet Galen knows them.
I'm guessing he knows them. I
does.
probably don't have to read anything. I'll just tell him what they are and he'll fill in the blanks. Good morning. You're on the air.
Hey, God bless Casey, but did you ever hear his rant that was famous on the internet?
Yeah.
I'll tell you that the first time I heard that, I was working in radio in Jacksonville, and back then the way you got audio was people would you would either get it over the phone line or they would mail it to you, and that's one of those tapes that probably circled the globe through just radio DJs passing it along. So
check out the tube bar tapes too sometime.
The which one?
Bar.
A two-bar?
The tool. Say it again. Oh, I don't know what I said. The toolbar.
Yeah.
I don't know what that is.
So I guess we'll Google the.
All right, here we go.
I don't know that one.
All right, here we go. Some baseball weird incidents. So weird baseball incidents. You ready?
Yeah.
On June 23rd, 1917, Babe Ruth pitched to one batter. Period. Walking him before he was ejected from the game for punching the umpire.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. Today you do that, you're suspended for the season. So.
Wow.
Bill Buckner, 1986.
Why do you got to go there?
Oh, it must be something to do with Galen's Red Sox.
Slugging 2,700 hits in his career and winning the 1980 batting title. He was also an all-star and drove in over 100 runs in 85 and 86, helping the Red Sox into the World Series in 86. The Red Sox had not won a World Series since trading Babe Ruth.
I'm over this now. Since we've won 3 World Series since. But,
okay, good.
If you would have brought this up in 87, and I'm not kidding, I would have just hung up. It would have been like, Galen, are you there? I may not have called back for a week.
Despite the usual death...
it's still a painful memory.
Despite the usual death threats, Boston fans later took Buckner back into their hearts.
Yeah, only after we won 3 World Series. I mean, it's
oh my God.
If you watch the video, we have a chance to beat one of the best baseball teams, out there, and now there are many people who believe that. What's his name? I forgot the guy who hit it now. Fernandez. No, that's wrong. See, I forgot. That's great. I'm starting to forgive.
All right, but what you're leaving.
You would have beat them to the bag anyway. They wouldn't have gotten them out at first anyway.
Okay, but so far, unless somebody knows the story, nobody knows what he did. Do you want to say?
Well, he allowed a ground ball right to his legs. I mean, it was a weak ground ball. Problem is it goes into right field, and a guy I really could not stand. Nancy Lopez's husband is how I always refer to him. He was later a commentator for ESPN, and his name was Knight. And so he scores from first on the play, which is what was so devastating. So even if he gets him out, we still hold the guy to second. Or we don't get the guy out at first, nobody goes to second. It's just one of those plays.
All right.
Wow.
So the ball was going slow through his legs, rolling on the ground, and he missed it.
Oh, gosh.
It wasn't going so slow that it would have been a tough play. It would have been an easy play. It was just anyway, let's move on.
All right, the next weird baseball incident on the list is in 2005. The Colorado Rockies were playing the Diamondbacks in Arizona when their pitcher, Darren Oliver, was attacked by bees.
That was the Colorado Rockies pitcher?
He had coconut gel or something in his hair, right?
Yeah, if you watch the video, I mean, you can't really tell at first what the heck's going on, and you're like, oh my gosh, this guy's having a spasm.
Oh.
It's not. I mean, he got stung like 4 or 5 times, and actually had to be removed from the game. But it's kind of funny now that he's fine.
Oh my God!
But he had lots of bees around him, and they called the whole game. The whole game was done, right?
They had to pause it to get rid of the bees because his swarm was huge. So wasn't good. Wasn't good for him, that's for sure.
All right, next one is in 2003, the long-suffering Chicago Cubs. Let's see, no World Series appearance since 1945 and playing in the 2003 National League Championship Series, the winner of which would go to the World Series, only 4 outs away from winning the game number 6, and taking the National League pennant. Luis Castillo of the Marlins popped up toward the stands. Cubs outfielder. Go ahead, finish the story.
Well, I'll tell you, the guy. What happened is Bartman leaned over and caught the ball. So from a fan, and Moises Alou, who has played for the Cubs, played left field, was right under it, would have caught it. Now that's called interference. The batter's out. The guy's ejected. But the real story behind this, and the Cubs, of course, went on to lose. But the real story behind this is how this kid, who was a young man. I think he was like 19 or 20. Was a huge Cubs fan, and there were so many death threats against him and so many threats against his life that he moved, and no one to this day knows where he is at.
Really?
So yeah, because he's still and every once in a while you'll see at least 1 or 2 articles written about this once a year. Bartman's name will come up, and he's a villain in the city of Chicago, and all he tried to do was catch a souvenir. So,
no.
And to this day, when you go to a game, you don't want to be Bartman. If people around you, if you lean over and take somebody's home run, and then they call him out or something like that, they'll call it a Bartman, and it's and if you watch the video, is guy sitting there, he's listening to Harry Carey on the radio, and he's really in tune with the game. Reached out to catch the ball, and he caught it.
Oh no!
And Moises Alou sat there and pouted, and then next guy gets a hit. Actually, they lose. Marlins go on to win the World Series. And now, if you believe in destiny, you knew the Marlins were going to win the 2003 World Series because that's what they said in Back to the Future.
Oh, that's funny. Oh, God. Oh, that was great. That was more than I had here. Okay, so the next one is
do the Bartman.
1946. An ephus pitch is a high arcing lob, and this has to do with Ted Williams.
Yes.
Do you know the story? You want me to read it?
Go ahead and read it.
An ephus pitch is a high.
Why does it have to? Go ahead, keep reading.
Why does it have to what?
It's Red Sox. Go ahead.
Yeah, I know. Kind of like an underhanded softball unlimited arc pitch. That's what an ephus is. When a major league pitcher is sizzling balls at batters at 80 to 100 miles per hour, this sort of pitch can make a batter look silly.
Yeah.
Pirates pitcher Rip Sewell was noted for his ephus pitch, and then in the 1946 All-Star game, Ted Williams, the greatest hitter of all time, dared Sewell to throw him one. Williams promptly hit the ball out of the park. It was later noticed that Williams had actually run out of the batter's box at the pitch before slugging it out and should have been called out.
Right.
Huh.
Oh my gosh.
Now, here's the reason why I paused, because there was a when my father had a pretty good relationship with Ted Williams before he died, and so and I actually have the audio where he talks to Ted Williams about this very play. And Ted Williams to this day denies that he ever left the batter's box. There's no real video evidence because you can't really see it because it's so grainy. But Ted Williams says he hit it over 400 feet. So he's pretty proud of that. And he said, I want it. And if you've ever heard Ted Williams, he had this he was from San Diego, and he had this way of talking that you didn't question it, you just nodded your head and you go, I wanted him to throw that, I dared him to. He talked about it was great. So,
too funny.
but yeah, I mean, it was a good moment. But Yankees fans, and the reason I hesitate, always bring he was out of the box. He was out of the box. So, sorry.
All right, let me get the phone. Good morning. You're on the air.
Hey, good morning. I just have to say that when Galen said with that intonation, "Go ahead and read it," that was a class. That was a classic.
Yeah,
that was That was classic.
Yeah.
Thank you, Galen.
Yeah, you didn't want us
If you
to.
have it on tape, you could put that on a loop and just go ahead.
Go ahead and read it. Yeah.
It was great.
Yeah, that's. Oh, you're pointing out something pretty cool, Lauren. Yeah, that's kind of like when Seinfeld will go, "Hello, Newman."
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So
I
it's
should
all.
have just said that with an 86.
Hello,
I will
Newman.
say this. If you bring up Bucky Dent or Aaron Boone,
Go ahead and read it.
if I click off, you'll understand. I'll just hang up. I'll just hang up.
All right, hold on. The phone rang again. Let me answer the phone. Hello.
Hello, how are you all?
Hiya, Hugh. How are you?
Oh, pretty good, thank you. I've seen a real unusual thing back in the middle or late 50s with the Milwaukee Brewers. Joe Adcock was the first baseman. I don't know what team they were playing against. It was an American League at that time. But anyways, or no, National League, excuse me. But there was a runner on first and third base, and I believe there was 2 outs. But anyways, there was an infield play, and Joe Adcock got the ball, and the guy was safe at first base. And he walked out to the mound to have a conversation with the pitcher, and he came back with the ball hidden in his glove. And the pitcher went back like he was going to pitch, and the guy in first base let off, and he tanked him out.
Oh.
Never seen that before.
Oh. Gee, in the 1950s.
Hidden ball trick.
The hidden ball trick.
That was kind of sneaky, but I never heard anything about that or ever had seen it or heard about it.
It still works. I mean, just YouTube hidden ball trick. I mean, the Rays pulled it off, I think, earlier this year. I mean, it's one of those things when you get caught, you feel like a complete and utter moron. The crowd goes crazy. It's not cheating. It only works at home now. It's really difficult to pull off on the road.
Yeah, I would imagine. You can't get out alive.
It's kind of what they call dirty pool, huh?
I would say.
No,
Galen doesn't think so. It sounds like it to me.
No. It's sportsmanship, right? I mean, part of baseball is keeping your focus, and because there is no clock. I mean, and so therefore there is no real timeout. And that's actually the key to the play is to not call timeout, and the pitcher can't touch the rubber, and it's not an easy play to pull off.
All right, let's get another phone call. Good morning. You're on the air.
Yes, you might ask Galen if he remembers Mookie Wilson.
You remember Mookie?
Sure, he did more probably off the field than he did on the field, but yeah, of course.
He hit the ball that went between Bill Buckner's legs at first base.
Oh no! There you go. Go ahead and read it. Right. All right. Thank you. Appreciate it. All right, the next one I have is in 2007. In a playoff series against the Yankees, the Indians won an 11-inning game amid an enormous swarm of bugs.
Yeah.
Probably what Northern Ohioans called Canadian soldiers. It's a gnat, a harmless gnat-like bug. Yankees complained that they had a hard time seeing when they were doing what they were doing and were gagging on the flies.
Oh, my gosh.
The bugs were in a mating swarm, and the Yankees did not find that amusing.
I bet not.
The Indians players shook off the bugs and took them in stride, later saying they pretended not to be bothered because of the Yankees' protests. Wow.
Well, if you look at the video, I mean, it was a poor job of Chamberlain of the Yankees, and I never feel sorry for the Yankees, but poor guy was getting crushed.
Oh.
In 1920, this is a sad one. A career Cleveland Indian, Ray Chapman, was beaned by Yankees pitcher Carl Mays. He collapsed at the plate, collapsed again, and then was helped. He died in the hospital 12 hours later.
Yeah. Oh. Yeah, he, today he would have lived, but that's one of the reasons why they even have batting helmets. So.
Oh, really?
Gosh.
That's crazy. All right, the next one I have is 2000.
By the way, what was the caller's name who brought up that guy's name?
I don't know.
What's his name?
I don't know.
Wookie's name.
I'm gonna Google him, and I may have to come see him today. Have a chat. No, I'm kidding.
All right, two similar ones.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. Luke.
All right, the next two are famous. I've seen these, or at least one of these. Dave Winfield and Randy Johnson. Dave Winfield in '83, Randy Johnson in 2001. Both killed a bird with a ball.
One hitting, one pitching. One throwing.
Okay.
Wow.
In Toronto Blue Jays killed a seagull.
Yeah.
Were they both seagulls? I don't know, but two birds.
No, one was a pigeon.
Oh, okay.
I know the one Randy Johnson hit was a seagull, and the poor guy just disintegrated.
Oh.
It was like, poof.
Yeah.
It was like you hit him with a shotgun.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the one I've seen, yeah.
I mean, they had to clean it up, and it took a long time to clean it up.
The next one is George Brett Pine Tar home run in 1983.
One of the most compelling clips of television history. I really believe that. I mean, it's you got to remember, 1983 World Series was still a really, really big deal. I mean, on the edge of cable television, so there still were options, but not that many. It was still on prime time, and I remember watching with my dad, and we were pulling for George Brett, obviously, and then my dad did not like Martin, who was the coach of the manager for the Yankees. And he comes out very calmly, just points to the bat. George Brett loses his mind. That was just great television.
Oh, wow.
All right, the next one. I think you told us about this one some time ago, but it was in 1974, back on June 4th. I'm sorry. No, that wasn't what it was. That's when they printed this. Okay. They had 10-cent beer night.
Disco night, yeah.
10-cent beer night riot that took place in Cleveland's Municipal Stadium. It's been torn down since. Indians management ignored the recent bad blood between the Indians and the Rangers and held the event anyway. The limitation on beer drinkers was one person could only buy 6 beers for 10 cents each.
Yeah.
Wow.
Okay, here's what, 10-cent beer night. They, just one of those epically bad ideas that just got really, really out of control.
Why?
So
what happened?
Well, they got drunk. I mean, that's the bottom line. All the fans just got hammered and stormed the field. The first thing they started doing was throwing things. They were throwing things at the opposing team. And then it turned from there, and then the manager of the Rangers pulled all his players off the field and said, "We're not going to play." And next thing you know, the umpire says, "Fine, it's a forfeit," and the Rangers win. And then everybody just stormed the field. It was ugly.
Wow.
It was very, very ugly. It's right up there with Detroit and disco night when they decided to burn all your disco albums.
Right. For a game
Another epically bad idea. You know, it's one of those things when you're in a brainstorming session marketing, I'm like, yeah, people will come for that. Yeah. You know, this is Detroit, Rock City. We're going to burn every disco
10-cent beer night. You can only have 6.
Well, for a game that really tries to encourage good sportsmanship, this is pretty bad.
Yeah, sportsmanship in baseball is a new thing.
Oh.
I mean, for a long time, it was just winning. I mean, yeah, I mean, I'm serious. I mean, it's become, sportsmanship in general has become a newer thing, because a lot of times this was just self-imposed. So if you wanted good sportsmanship, you controlled that by, you hit my guy, or you come in and slide hard at my guy, I'm going to throw at the other guy's head. So this new thing of sportsmanship is relatively new.
By the way, did you ever see the video? We were talking about the beer cups that could be filled from the bottom up. Remember that?
Yeah.
Yeah, I did see that.
You did?
That's magic. Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah.
That's magic.
Yeah, that was cool. Where was that? In Seattle? I think it was Seattle,
I think
right?
so. I think it was Seattle, yeah.
All right,
That
Rob.
was magic.
We need a segue from weird baseball moments to donating blood.
Well, sometimes those weird baseball moments do create a riot, and those people need to have some kind of a healthy blood put in them so they can live a happy and healthy longer life. So go to Life South Community Blood Centers, donate 1 unit. You will donate 1 unit of blood and show off your sportsmanship for Team Life South, because they're here for everyone to save lives.
Beautiful. Thank you.
There you go. And where's the Bloodmobile today, Galen?
Bloodmobile today, Larry, is at Goodwill Industries.
Right here? Right by the mall?
Yeah, right there. Yeah.
27th Avenue.
All right. And if you can't get over there, you can go right next door to the Cascades, where we used to broadcast from. That's where Life South has been for quite a while now, ever since they stopped selling pies.
That's right.
And if you're in Denali, where would you go?
Right next door to Winn-Dixie.
Winn-Dixie.
All right, Galen, that was fun.
Yeah, thank you.
Enjoy the day. Thank you for doing what you do, and we'll speak to you tomorrow.
All right, you guys have a great day.
All right, you
Bye,
too.
all.
All right, we'll be right back.
Fox News Radio, I'm Pat O'Neill. IRS Chief John Koskinen back for more grilling on Capitol Hill last night, again saying there's no evidence anyone committed a crime when emails were lost. GOP panel chairman Daryl Ison not buying it.
It's hard to love the IRS, but it